That's it. Good afternoon and welcome to the August 9th, 2023 Facilities Improvement Committee, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So good afternoon. Again, we have a light crowd, possibly more individuals joining us. And we have a short agenda, and we're going to start with the LMS project updates.
Yep, so today we had our construction meeting at LMS. This is our weekly progress meeting. The summer work, as the committee remembers or should remember, is really focused on getting the cafeteria and the kitchen completed. And then that'll finalize the renovation project and complete all the HVAC tie-in. So in taking the walk around today, North Branch has done a great job of driving that project through to completion. Pretty much the kitchen equipment is all in place. I will say that it's remarkable when you stand in the kitchen with the old cooler removed, just the amount of real estate that was picked up in the kitchen itself. So all the equipment was in place. They were finalizing a few things on the serving line today, and making sure that the cooler is ready to turn on and be powered up or cooled down for the start of school. Department of Health and Human Services is coming in on 21st, and they will complete their inspection to make sure that everything passes all the regulations that they have. And so we're on track to have the LMS cafeteria and kitchen done for the start of school, and to start training our crew on how to work with all the new equipment that they have down there.
Did they make a decision? I know there was a conversation before, the whole setup for that whole kitchen area. I mean, have they devised a plan, a solid plan of what they're going to do? I know they're talking about different racks of food or different.
Yeah, it's all pretty much in place. So when you walk in, there are a couple of coolers that are right in front, and they're kind of grab and go coolers, so the students can pick. I'm not exactly sure what's going to go into them, but maybe a salad meal or something that they want to grab out of the first cooler. Then I think it's a milk cooler, and then the serving line. And then, of course, in the back, all the new ovens and cooking surfaces are there, so they'll be able to prepare the meals using all that. So, yep, all that's in place. Then that leaves, so they will be out for the start of school when new teachers return on the 21st. They'll be doing final cleaning in there, and they'll be turned over to our kitchen staff after that. So they are then going to, right now they're basically out of all the ceilings, so they've completed all the work that they need to do above the ceilings. And it really leaves the solar as the last part of that project. And so we met last week with fire and the building inspector to talk about exactly where the container is going to go. We have an agreed upon site for the container, for the battery storage system. That's not due to arrive for quite some time. The batteries are going to take longer to be implemented. But we got confirmation from Kay, who is the solar designer today, that the racking and the solar cells are in the warehouse with our name on them. So those are here, and I believe that the intent is to get all the final permits pulled in the next couple of weeks, and then to begin the work of solar, hopefully to be done by the end of September. So that will be up and going. And even though the batteries won't be connected, we'll have all the benefits of the solar in the interim. So that will be on the roof and working for us. So that's kind of what I have on LMS, and I'd love to take any questions that people might have about it.
I think my first question is, how many storage containers after the 21st will still be sitting there?
So all of our storage containers, the ones that had furniture, were cleaned out and emptied and sent back in June.
Those would be the ones that you go around the corner?
So those are all gone. There are, I believe today, there were 2 storage containers still on the side lawn.
Yep.
But those are North Branch storage. So I would expect that they would be emptied and moved out I'm gonna say before the start of school, but if they're still working on punch list items, they might stay a little bit
I
longer.
know they were gonna do like, lawn cleanup and put something down.
Yeah, and we talked about that today. So the landscaper is coming back to do, to put loam and hydro seeding on that side lawn where like the oil tank used to be, just to get all of that finalized. And then, there's an arborvitae out front that didn't live, so we're gonna get that replaced, so it'll look good for the start of school. But I wouldn't say the grass will be in, but it'll be,
Cleaned up.
cleaned up
level off.
and, yeah. And then there's the recycling dumpster has temporarily been on that corner, so you kind of go around the recycling dumpster. That's gonna get relocated back where it was before. So everything should be, it's gonna look like a whole new place before the start of school.
I guess my only other question, because I know that it seemed like it was delivery and pickup, is that dumpster in the fenced area, which was really nice the first time I was in there, because it was closed and gone, and since then,
Well, so there's been an ongoing conversation with the company that picks up the dumpster, so we're still trying to get that ironed out. So right now, the dumpster is in there, but the door is not shutting fully because the dumpster is not angled. And so we're still trying to work with the company to get that done.
can they add a door, like reconfigure it so that it can go in on an angle, or? I
Yeah,
don't know if the pad's big enough or not.
It might be that, or, I don't know, it's an ongoing back and forth between Dave and the company
Right.
about getting that done, so.
I don't understand why that's a problem. If it got in there the first time, why can't it get in there again?
I totally hear what you're saying. I'm not sure why that's an issue.
It would be nice to like go around that building and see it cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of years.
I think parents will appreciate having that sign out front too, so that they
Yep.
can, and it's double-sided, so you can see going both ways, what's going on. So I just think that project is really, I think about my 5-year window on this, from having the portables removed to the new entrance
Yep.
canopy and so forth, and then to get this project done, it's really a whole different look down there.
And we talked about it. I mean, that's setting the school up for another 30 years.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
All right, so that brings us into GMS discussion. I guess first is community forum.
Yes, so we right now have a community forum scheduled for September 27th. And the intent is to roll out to the community exactly what our plan is for the Robin Riley Elementary School and the bond, and what we would be asking. And so I'm looking for ideas from the committee about what we should be saying and communicating to the community on September 27th, so that we can start to plan for that. I would love to, pack the house with parents and get people there who are, able to engage with us. But we really do want to hear from the community about what the expectations are and what it would take to have a successful bond vote in March. And the board is looking for that level of feedback, so I think it's going to be part presentation that night and then part listening to what questions and concerns parents or the community has.
Do you intend to have teachers there that can speak of the condition of the school? I'm thinking like long-term teachers that, have been here 10, 15.
I've had their classrooms in every part of the school.
Right, so, I mean, and there's a lot of them, so I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be more like, download as much as, just receiving questions from the audience.
I think having teachers there would make a lot of sense, Jess. I'm curious what
I
your
agree.
thought is.
I mean, to make it really successful, and I don't know if this is possible, but I think pairing it with an event, like having an ice cream social, or even like our open house, like, some of the teachers can be doing their thing in their classroom while the other teachers are doing a presentation, and then switch, which I know is, if you had the whole school at the same time, that's a lot with parking. But I think pairing it with something would draw in even more people. If you don't pair it with something, I think you're gonna get the people who
Have already
have already been there and, are really invested in it one way or the other. So I don't know if that's possible, talking with Dan. whether we pair it with our open house or do a fall ice cream social, you know, and have some of the teachers with the kids and some of the teachers with the parents and community members. But I think,
Well, I know they talked about having it at GMS, and then maybe the first one there, but going forward, will all the forums be at GMS?
So we haven't picked the topics for the rest of the forums.
Right.
You know, we wanted to launch the GMS project in September so we can start to build momentum toward March, but we haven't picked the other agendas yet,
Right.
so.
I mean, I guess I can almost visualize the first one as, I guess, more or less a recap of everything we've gone through over the last couple of years as far as selection of the site, selection of type of school, you know, that type of thing, and the need, you know, give like an overview of, a reminder of the need. But I can see after that, I mean, it's really like educating them on the importance of a new school and what that's going to provide as far as education to the children. And so I can see those being at Campbell, where you would think there'd be more people who have a stake in it might attend. I think what you want to do is have a raffle, someone can win something, so come in.
something, or even just like having a plan for how we can amuse their kids somehow, because I know how it is, like, you know, trying to balance everything. If you can bring your children and have them do something while you're, you know, learning about this new school, I think it would be very helpful.
It's a great idea.
Right, maybe we can put them in the gym and maybe get a Girl Scout troop to babysit.
Yeah.
You know. Can you earn a merit badge for babysitting, the Girl Scouts?
Probably, I would think that's a
Yeah.
merit badge.
Yeah.
So one thing, just thinking about the teacher thing, because I think that's really good feedback. So on opening day for all staff, which is Thursday, the 24th, we just made arrangements today that actually it ties in nicely, because that's the dry-run bus route day, so the buses are all in town driving around, getting to know the routes. And so at 9:30, they're gonna come to Campbell, so when we finish the welcome back ceremony and recognition, we're all gonna get on a bus and go to GMS. And I think it's imperative that our high school teachers and our middle school teachers, get a tour of GMS by the GMS teachers. You know, we had quite a discussion in admin, and, some people said, yeah, I think our teachers understand it. And I'm like, I don't think they do. I think until you've really been in there and,
Yep.
you know, and open up the 1930s building, because everybody talks about it, and
Yeah.
you drive by and look at it from the outside, but I want people to walk in. I want people to really have the experience of what it means to be in that building and to teach in that building.
I've taught in the 1930s building.
I heard
Yes.
that. I heard that you were you upstairs or down?
I was upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite it was a unique experience. Like, you would plug something into the wall and bursts of smoke would come out, and you'd hit the breaker and have to call the custodian to turn the breaker back on before you could go on. You know, I've been in every section of the building, including the portables. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, maybe you can be chief tour guide then, because it's,
I'm happy to do that.
or I think part of it is we're gonna need some help mapping out what to point out to people. And, you know, some GMS staff have been there a while and can probably do the tour blindfolded. But there are other people who are gonna need some coaching on,
Yep.
walk people here and show this, explain this. So, I just think we wanna make sure that people are prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And it's really about, you know, if we're going, or when we go for the bond vote, the staff have to understand why that's a priority for the school board.
Absolutely.
Because it's not, as you said, it's not a great situation, so.
No, absolutely.
And like, it seems like every room in GMS has some little special quirks or something about it that, you know, works, doesn't work, and
Yeah.
it's been
Or
fixed.
even just explaining that, like, in the winter, you need t-shirts down in the first and second grade wing, but we're bundled up with coats, you know, up in the wing that I'm in right now. You know, just the floor rolling. There's just so many different things in different parts of the building.
And the moisture.
The moisture,
How's it been this summer with all the rain?
So, that's a great question. I honestly can't answer it. We should find that out. I should
Yeah.
find that out.
Really
So
curious.
really, the moisture, what we've traced it back to is a condensation thing, so it's certainly been humid enough that there should be quite a bit
Especially yesterday.
in that building, but.
I mean, and that's just speaking about the solution to that is the industrial fans. So you can imagine what it's like teaching in the fall and in the spring with industrial fans every like 6 to 8 feet down the hallway, and then
Can't hear
noise.
anything when you walk in.
You can't hear anything. You know, it's difficult.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I think it's, again, our staff needs to have their awareness raised about it, and then the community forum is our chance to raise the community
Yeah.
forum, or the community awareness one more time, because it's something that has to get.
'Cause I know Dan's at a lot of the meetings and will, give his impression as far as the school, but I think coming from long-term teachers, I think is really more impactful. Or, not to say Dan's not impactful, but I think just, you've lived it, like you said.
Absolutely. And I think having teachers as tour guides, or like you said, people who've lived through it and can talk about what we've gone
Yeah.
through is a good thing.
So do you have dates established for the other forums or not as of yet?
So they're probably on the school district calendar, but I have to double check. The one I'm anchored on is the
first
September
one.
So, I want to say that it's November.
No, that's fine. If they're on there, I'll find them.
Yeah,
I just didn't know.
they're on the school district calendar anyway. Yep.
So do you want suggestions sent to you as far as,
Anybody, I jotted down our suggestions as we brainstorm here, and we'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind as we keep planning and organizing. I feel like Kyle will be there, and it'll be here's what we're proposing. So not so much the history of how we got from, 6 different possibilities to this one, but here's the one that we are plugging ahead with.
and how about Suzanne?
She may join us. I'm not sure if she will make the trip,
Right.
but either way, we'll present it all, and then we'll do the open the floor to questions, and really, I think a panel of teachers who can speak to that makes sense. When I was a young teacher, the heating system had failed in the room, and I had to turn the heat on and off by putting a paper clip in and out of the
Oh, gosh, yep.
the wall. There was the thermostat on the wall, and I had figured out, well, if I do this, so the kids would be like, "It's hot back here." I'm like, "Hang on, paper clip out," and then
Yes.
it's cold now, paper clip in. It's crazy that's the stuff that we just learn to do to get by. And so when you talk about the electricity tripping,
Yep.
I knew where the circuit breakers were in my room. As a science room, I tripped them all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, the hot plates are off. Hang on, I'll be right back. Run down, turn them back on again. It's crazy.
It is.
Next, we have RFQs.
Yep, so the civil engineering, so the board approved so we presented actually at this meeting in July, a draft budget to get ready for a bond vote. And part of that included hiring the civil engineering firm to do the work for us. So the budget was approved, the RFQ was reviewed and approved. That went out right afterwards. They were due yesterday. So we solicited 5 different civil engineering firms to submit a proposal. 2 of them chose not to submit, but 3 did submit. And so they were in as of yesterday, and we have a meeting set up for Monday where Kyle, Dave Ely, and I and Doug will review what came in, and then we'll have a recommendation to hire one of those companies as the civil engineering firm. So we're on track to get that company in and to begin the work for the property.
So just so the public understands, what is the civil engineer going to be doing?
Yeah, so they're going to really study, so as we know, we're talking about the land across from the fire station, and they're going to study everything from traffic counts so that we'll know what are we going to have for cars, what's necessary relative to turning lanes and safe entrance in and out of the property. They will make a recommendation on the best location for the road to go in. Kyle has already preliminarily cited it further down on the property, but they'll weigh in on what that is, whether that's the right location. They'll begin to look at wetland mapping. We have preliminary reports that were done, a due diligence report that said, yep, there's some wetlands in this area, here are things you're gonna have to be aware of, but this will get much more specific. Actual boundary survey work will be done. We were trying to think, so really there should be 4 corners to the property, and we were able to locate one of those, but the others, it's a little gray as to where the property actually ends. So we want to make sure that, we know exactly where the property bounds are so that we can begin to map out where the school would go. So that's all the work that the civil engineer will do. There could be a few other items that were marked in there.
And is there a period of time that that's gonna be accomplished?
If I remember correctly, Brian, we wanted it to be done so that we could proceed to the bond vote, and then after the bond vote, that you would know exactly how you're gonna work with that property to make the school fit. So, cause then it'll kick into higher gear for the design team to do the actual building.
I just didn't know if it's gonna be before some of the forums, so that, I know those were questions already came up. It's like, how can you build? It's a hill. How can you build? It's wet.
Yep.
That type of thing. And those questions will be asked again.
They will.
Even though we're having research right now, it'd be nice if we could have some of that information.
So, let me see what we can do. And I think the other wrinkle, I mean, you're aware of the possibility of a special meeting.
Yeah.
And so, that, it looks like the timeline for that is gonna coincide with a September 12th, deliberative session, followed by an October 17th vote of the public. And then if the public allows us to buy the property, authorizes us to actually make the purchase, at that point, we own the land. And so then, the engineering work becomes easier to do on it, because it's ours and not getting permission from Mrs. Riley, so. But that would be a little bit after the forum on the 27th of September. So, so we got to figure out how all that pieces together.
Next we have down is discuss current GMS.
Yeah, we sort of hit that actually as part of this, and
Okay.
part of it is to really communicate to everybody exactly what the conditions are that are there. So, and I think that's best done. You almost have to see it. You can't drive by. You got to see it. So, that's our effort to communicate and to get people to be aware of that.
All right. And that's our last point on the agenda. I don't know if there's any open communication or anything else that we had. Again, with the small group, it's a little difficult. We're not doing any voting or anything, so.
Right. Couple of, excuse me, a couple of other things for the committee to keep in mind. So, the Capital Improvement Committee, I was at the meeting Monday night and presented, our latest plan, although they did not have the most up-to-date plan. The up-to-date plans are actually due in the next couple of weeks. Excuse me. The school is presenting the capital plan to the committee. I'm going to find the date so that we all have it here. I think it's the 21st. I have it on my calendar for the 21st. And yeah, so I think it's August 21st that we will be presenting. So we'll walk through the capital plan again. The board had actually approved it back on July 12th. So that was the final approval of the plan. It's really a refresh from the plan that we've had in the past. It simply shows that the land has been approved for purchase, and now we're focused on the actual building itself. So we'll keep all that in mind. But I wanted the committee to be aware that we're also doing the work with the town and the capital planning work that they'll be voting on relative to all the needs at that, or by mid-September or late September, I think is when they take their votes.
Anyone have anything else?
No.
No, I think that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Excellent.